Hey y'all, here we are at the local Flavor Kitchen again, and today we are going to make meatballs and banana pudding. So come on and let me show you how. Okay, so we're going to start off with some ground beef, and right here I have about 6 or 7 pounds of hamburger meat, and you can do as small or as big a batch as you want. But this is about what I'm going to do, and it'll make about a half-size pan and a little more. You'll have a little extra, so I'll show you what we do with the little extra. So it's going to make about 12 big meatballs. I usually make mine about baseball size. So we're going to start out with your ground beef, and then we are going to add, now I got this recipe from my friend Marcy Danielson, so we're going to call these Marcy's meatballs, or now she's a mama, so her grandkids call her mama, so you can call them mama's meatballs. And I got this recipe from her, but my recipe she's probably going to cringe when she sees me make these, because I do try to, do my own spin on things. So the gist of the recipe came from Marcy, and then I just maybe have changed it up because I either didn't go get the recipe card and look it up and do it just right. I just kind of went by memory, and then, so this is how I make them. But we'll call them Marcy's meatballs or Mama's meatballs. So I usually get my ground beef, and then I put in a jar of chili sauce. So if you don't want to use chili sauce, then you can just use crushed tomatoes or tomato sauce. But this is what I like to use. And so I put in a jar of this, and then I chop up a white or yellow onion. There we go. Get it all out. And I've already got my onion chopped up. So put in, this is about 1.5 cups of chopped onion. And then of course we're going to do salt and pepper. About a teaspoon of pepper, teaspoon kosher salt. And then we're going to do about 4 eggs to all of this meat. So if you make a smaller batch, probably just a couple eggs, but about 4 eggs to about 6 or 7 pounds of ground beef. And then this is about 2 cups of oats. Now if you don't have quick oats, then just use breadcrumbs. You can make your own breadcrumbs, but this is about 2 cups of quick dry oats. So put my gloves on. I'm going to mix this up really good, and then we'll start making our meatballs. Put them in our pan. Oh, preheat your oven to 375. I usually cook them at 375 because I make my meatballs a little bit bigger. Some people like them a little smaller, but I make them bigger. So preheat your oven to 375, and then just get in here and mix them up really good. And then we will start making the meatballs up in just a minute. I'll get all this mixed up. Okay, so I've got it all mixed up, but one of the main ingredients that I forgot to tell you to add, and that I just added after I said I was going to mix this up, is chili powder. So you want to add about 1 tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Depends on how much you want in there, so it's all to taste. You can't be afraid of it. Just go ahead and just make it how you think it would taste best. But forgot to tell you about the chili powder. So I got all that mixed up. And also, sometimes if I have it, I'll put parsley flakes in because it just makes it a little prettier. So I make my meatballs about baseball size. You can make them tinier if you want, but I make them about like that. And so then I just make a pan full of them, and we will definitely have some left over. So you don't have to use this much hamburger meat. You can do a smaller batch for sure, just half the batch. But I always make extra, and someone had already asked for the meatballs, so I'm going to make a pan for Cherie and take those back to Oklahoma tomorrow. And this week, Jarrett Daughtry was supposed to come. He's the comedian down at the Grand Country, and he was supposed to come and do a video with me this week, but he called this afternoon. He's in Oklahoma at a rodeo bull riding, and he wouldn't make it back. And so we decided we'll do it next week. But I was excited to get him here. He's so funny, and of course he's not the funniest guy I know. Right?
That's right.
Don't listen. Let me give you a tip. If you have a funny husband, don't ever say, "Oh, he is so funny. He's the funniest guy I know," because you might as well just walk up and punch you right in the stomach. Is that true?
It's true.
That's like saying, ooh, that girl is so pretty, right?
It's like people in the restaurant, I ask them, how's chicken fried steak? And he said, well, it ain't the best. Then they'll say, my wife makes the best, but it's second.
Right. So Jarrett is not the funniest guy I know. He's the second funniest guy I know. So I'm excited for him to come and cook with us. You're going to get a kick out of him. So he'll be here. Hopefully next week we'll get a video with him. And the funniest guy I know is going to make a video with me, right?
That's right.
Okay.
One of these days.
One of these days he'll make his famous spam something.
Maybe somebody could comment some ideas.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But,
give us some ideas. Okay, so I make mine about baseball size, just like this. And this will make about 12 meatballs, or it'll make about 20. It depends on how big you make them. If you make them a little smaller, you can put your pan. But anyway, this is about how many it'll make in one of these half-size pans. You can make a great big pan if you want. And then I've got all of these ready, and I've got some left over. So I'm going to show you what I do with the leftovers. I am going to also make this sauce that goes over the top of these, and then we're going to bake them. So let me get my little pan over here. Get this out of the way. Show you right here. So that's about what it looks like. You're going to fill your pan up with them, and then we're going to make some sauce. I'm going to take the extras, and I always make extras. So I already have a pan in the oven so that I can show you the finished product. But so I'm making a little pie pan full, and the best way to surprise people, so if you know somebody who's just 2 of them, or maybe someone who lives alone, or just a couple of people who you could surprise with, you could just make a little pan of them and take them over. So I love people with food. I love to make things for people. So always make extra. I always make extra and try to take it to people. So I'm going to make another one. So see how small I made these? These would be good for somebody who's just, a couple people or not very many people to feed. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to show you how to make the sauce to pour over the top, okay? Okay, so I've already got all my meatballs made up. So here's our big pan of meatballs, and then I made 2 smaller pans of little meatballs to give to somebody. And so now we're going to make the sauce that we pour over the top, and then we're going to pop them in the, or I've got one in the oven. I'll show you what it looks like, the finished product, okay? All right, so come over here and I'll show you how to make the sauce. So for time's sake, I've already got a cup of onions, cup of diced onions in here in the pan. Put a little bit of butter in there. And so you can, and here I have about 2 tablespoons of chopped garlic. I'm gonna add that in there. Turn it up a little bit. And then it depends on how sweet you want it. But I always put about 1.5 cups of brown sugar in mine because I like mine sweet. This is a sweet and savory meatball recipe. So I put about 1.5 cups of brown sugar, and then you can either use 4 cans of these crushed tomatoes, best choice of course, because crushed tomatoes are crushed tomatoes. And you can use 4 cans of the smaller ones, or 2 of these bigger cans. And I like to get the bigger cans. So this is how we do it here. So go ahead and get this to kind of a good simmer, to where all this sugar is incorporated really well and it's cooked into the sauce. So you can cook that for just a little while. Of course, it's going to cook for a while in the oven too, but I like to get it good and incorporated where the sugar's all melted in there good. And then, of course, you can give it a taste. Now, if you don't have chopped garlic, then you can use this like a garlic salt or something like that. But I just like that garlic flavor. If you don't like garlic flavor, then don't put garlic in it. But you can just experiment with it, whatever you have in the cabinet. If you don't have crushed tomatoes, if you have just tomato sauce, then you can just make it thicker with a little bit of flour in there, and it'll make it thick like this. So this is what it's going to look like. I always give it a taste. So good. All right, now you can simmer this for a little bit, let it simmer, but I'm going to go ahead and just pop it, cover my meatballs with it. So come over here, cover the meatballs with it. And this is what's going to happen here. If you like a lot of sauce, then go ahead and cover them really good. We do. We like a lot of sauce on ours. My kids love this meal. And although I am sure I didn't follow Marcy's recipe verbatim. We did make these when we were on vacation in Tennessee a while back, in Downton. Marcy's grandson dates my youngest daughter. They're dating. So we were all on vacation, and I made the meatballs, and Downton told me they were good. He actually had second helping, so they were pretty good. He said, they're not as good as my mama's, which is okay because I expected that, because that's what he's used to. But he said, but they're pretty close. So I know I have the recipe pretty close. It's probably not exactly the same. And then I had a little bit of a cup of this left from the first batch I made, so I'll go ahead and cover these really good because I like a lot of sauce on mine. So cover it really good. Now, I bake mine at 375. I cover it with foil and I bake them at 375. So I'm going to just wrap these up and give them to somebody and then tell them to bake it. So this is going to Cherie, and then I'll find some other people to give these to. Now, I'm going to get those out of the oven, and I'm going to show you what it all looks like when it comes together, okay? Okay, so this is how we serve our meatballs. We just get regular old minute rice. Of course, I think this is the premium, but 5-minute rice. This is what we do, white rice. And so I have it already here in the pan, and if I put a little butter in mine, so that's how we serve ours. So I'm going to get it out of the oven, and this has been cooking at 375 for about an hour, covered, and oh my gosh, it looks so good. Look at that. Now, I like a lot of sauce on mine because that's how the kids like it. They like to put a lot on their rice. So so we serve it just like this. I mean, it makes a meal. So you get a little bit of rice, and you get in here and get you a meatball. And then you get in here and you get some more sauce. So it's just a sweet, savory, yummy dish. So look at that. Doesn't that look so good? And of course, oh, I've made a mess here, but gotta get a bite of it. I'm sure it's gonna be very, very hot, but doesn't that look good? Can you see it?
Look good.
Can you get it? See it real good? All right. So sweet and savory. Show you what it looks like. Oh, and I'll tell you what I do sometimes too. I forgot to tell you this, but just for prettiness, you can get some chives. These are dried chives, but I kind of like to sprinkle them on top right before I put them in the oven, and it just gives it a pretty effect. And you can even put them in your rice too to make. I just think it makes it prettier. So that is what it is looks like when it comes out, and then that sauce all in the rice. So looks good. I'm gonna take a bite of it. Probably gonna burn my tongue, but I've got to taste it and make sure that I told you right. It is delicious. So, so good. And you can take these and make a whole bunch of them and freeze them and then give them away to people or save them for, you know, just have them all stacked up in the freezer for yourself. So they freeze beautifully. They freeze for quite a while, so you just wrap them up real good, put them in the freezer, and then when you're hungry for meatballs, set them in the refrigerator for a day, and then the next day they'll be thawed out and ready to cook. So, all right, so there's your meatball dinner. And now I'm going to make some yummy banana pudding. So this recipe that I'm going to make you come from my Aunt Frida. So, and anybody named Frida, you know they make good banana pudding. So I'm going to get all my stuff out for my banana pudding and show you how easy that is, okay? Okay, so this is my favorite banana pudding recipe, and my Aunt Frida, my Uncle Leo's wife, she used to make this all the time. And so anytime we had a family event, Frida, she just knew that this is what she was supposed to bring. So for time's sake, again, I've already made my banana pudding. So I use the cook and serve because I think it's better than instant. So what you do is you just follow the directions on these boxes here. I've used 4 boxes of the banana pudding because I wanted to kind of make some extras and give it away to people. So there's 4 boxes in here, so you can just do it to taste, not necessarily a set recipe, just do it to taste. I'm just going to tell you what we put in it to make it yummy. So here we are, the cook and serve. If you want to use instant, that's That's your prerogative, but I like the cook and serve. So I've already made this up. There's 4 boxes of the small boxes in there. So we're gonna use, here we have Eagle brand, and you can just eat this stuff right out of the jar. One of my favorite things. And then I'm just gonna put a can of this in there. And then we're gonna do Cool Whip. Now you can make your, of course I don't have Cool Whip. I have whipping cream, whipped topping. You can make your own whipped topping if you have time. I like to do that sometimes. All it is heavy cream, and you just beat it really fast in a cold bowl or in your KitchenAid. But since I didn't have time for that, I'm just going to use this. And I just use the generic kind. So I'm going to put this in there. And you beat your whipping cream really fast, and then when it gets thick like this and starts making peaks, then you want to add powdered sugar. So super easy to make if you want to make it homemade. And I've done that before too, but I just don't have time right now. So you're going to mix all of this together in here. And then if you want to add some more of the condensed milk, if you have more of this, I only had 1 can. So, but if you want to add more of this, it'll make it a little sweeter. So it's just a taste. It's whatever you like. And then I have about 5 or 6 bananas. So if you like a lot of bananas, then that's what you want to do. Just chop those up, slice them up, and then mix it up really good. And you can do it any way you want to do it. You can put it in a pan. I'm going to put it in one of these. And then you can top it with your vanilla wafers. So you can do it with just the big circles, but I'm going to chop them up in my new Pampered Chef food processor. Doesn't that look so good? So that's going to be enough to give a lot of people. So usually when I made this at the restaurant back in Oklahoma, I hated to make this because it went so fast. Like we would make it and say we had banana pudding, and then we would be sold out. And you just couldn't make it fast enough because it's such a popular item.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, right? So anyway, you're going to get that all mixed up. Super easy recipe, and so yummy. And I actually feel like the more of the condensed milk that you put in, the better it is. But I only had the 1 can, so we're going to go with that. We'll just have to deal with it. So it's mixed, you know, where there's still swirls in it, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just transfer it over here to my pan, and then after I get that in there, I'm going to top it with my crumbled up vanilla wafers. So let me get this in the pan, and then I'll show you how to crumble. Well, of course you know how to crumble up vanilla wafers, but I just want to show you my little tool here. Okay, so now of course you could just take them, put the little disc on them that way, but I want to show you this thing I got from Pampered Chef. So I ordered this a while back, and I was so excited about it because it had all these different tools that you use. So you can, this is your base, and then you just use it for, you can have this mixer that you pop this on, and you have a mixer, and then you have this is a blender. Look at that. You just pop that on there, and then you blend stuff, and then it was a food processor. And so I was so excited, and I got it, and I started to try to use it, and I couldn't get it to work at all. And I was so frustrated with it. And I just kept trying and trying, and so I contact them, and I'm like being such a Karen about it, and I tell them that it doesn't work, that they gave me, it malfunctioned, they gave me a lemon. And so today, I used it once. Remember, I got it to work. I guess it was an accident. But today I figured out, after they sent me for free a whole new base and 2 new batteries because I told them it wouldn't work. I figured out today why it wouldn't work. So if you get one of these and you put your battery in, you have to hit this lock button or it won't work. So I just figured this out today. So you pop this on. This is your what is it, motherboard, and then you hit lock, and then it'll light your lights up. So I don't know what happened, but I got a whole new one of these and 2 more batteries. So.
You would think it would come with some instructions or a how-to.
Well, I even called the rep who sold it to me, and I said, is there a trick to it? What's the deal? So anyway, so you hit this little button here, and then you hit plus or minus on the back of it. Oh wait, let me get it going. There. And it'll do it how fast you want. There's a plus or a minus. You can do it faster or slower. But is that not the handiest thing you've ever seen? I am so impressed now that I know how it works. Look at that. I mean,
Turn it into dust.
it's not bad for, battery operated. So.
And it was probably practically free.
Anyway, you just pop this, you just punch this button and then this will make it go faster or slower. And I'm just so impressed with this thing that I had to show you. And then this, you just pop it on here. Of course, hit the lock, but make sure that's locked. And then you just, turn it on. I'm so impressed with this. I haven't got to use the blender part yet. I can't wait to make ranch dressing with this thing. But they just pop off. All of them pop off. And they pop right on. Look at that. I'm so impressed. Oh, wait. I didn't hit the lock. See? And then I called them, chewed them out because I got a lemon. And whoever it is that sent me this stuff, I'm so sorry. But, oh well. I'll use it, I promise. But look at that. Just a little blender. Can't wait to make a ranch dressing with that. Isn't that the neatest? So, Pampered Chef. I love Pampered Chef. I am not a spokesperson for them, but I definitely would be. Hint, hint. So anyway, I'm going to take this off. And, for battery operated, it is doing a fantastic job. So, I've got out of the 4 boxes of the little boxes of pudding, I've got these 2 big pans and a small pan that I'm going to go back home, and we're going back to Oklahoma tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do, is just dust that on there, and then there we go. So let me get a little, first of all, I'm going to steal a little bit out of this one so we can have a taste test here. Do a little bit of that. Isn't that cute?
Looks good.
Taste of it, of course. And then if you like a lot of bananas, put a bunch of bananas in there. So good. Would you like that?
Yeah, I'll have some in a minute.
Well, all right then. I'll set it right there. So good. All right, so that was our meatball dinner with white rice. It makes a whole meal. You don't even have to make anything else with it because it's so filling. And then our banana pudding recipe. And we are open at Local Flavor right now here in Branson on Friday and Saturday nights until March. We're going to be opened up full-time March 7th. We'll be back in the saddle. And we would love for you to come and see us. So if you're in the Branson, Missouri area and you want to come and see us during this time, during January and February, of course, January's almost over now, but February, we're going to be open on Friday and Saturday nights. And we will have entertainment at different times. Tonight, we had Roger Horseman. He is fabulous. Love Roger. And last night we had Garrett and Dylan Massengale. So they are all great. They play classic country music, what we grew up on. And so if you're going to be in town, come and see us. We're going to be open from 4 to close on Friday nights. We're going to try to open up about 2 o'clock on Saturdays because we were going to be closed the whole time. But, I have ADD and I had to get back to work, and the rest of us all had cabin fever, and we just love to serve everybody. So if you're in the Branson area, come and see us here at Local Flavor Branson. And thank you for watching us. And if you liked our videos, subscribe and share them. And I just love doing this. So if you have any ideas, send them to me because I would love to tackle anything. Just tell me what you want me to make. And so next week, hopefully Jarrett will be here and we'll do something fun. All right, so we'll see you next time.